We are a couple weeks away from bowl season for Oklahoma. Oklahoma is going to be playing Arizona in the Alamo Bowl, and there has been some interesting developments in practice on a specific running back who entered the transfer portal being at practice. And a lot of people are now asking the question, well, what's next? Are they going to return? Or is this basically a tryout for other teams in the portal to see exactly what they could be getting out of this player? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the depth at the running back position for the University of Oklahoma. But before we do that, guys, thank you for tuning in to the PG Show, where we talk about all things college football. You know what? We got to give Oklahoma a little bit of love because they're the team that I love. They're the team that you love. So we're going to talk about them a little bit more than some of the other teams. But if you guys have not already, I need you to do one thing. Take care of the house cleaning, hit the like, hit that subscribe button. Additionally, join the discussion, jump in the comments, and let me know what y'all's thoughts are about what's next for Oklahoma and specifically around the running back room. And do you think Tawee Walker will return? So that's who we're going to talk about today, Tawee Walker. And when he hit the transfer portal, you saw a lot of Oklahoma fans, and I didn't realize how many people actually liked Tawee Walker this much, but it really felt like Tawee Walker was a fan favorite because people were like, there were people that were genuinely upset at DeMarco Murray and Brent Venables for letting Tawee Walker hit the transfer portal because he simply does not have a scholarship at the University of Oklahoma. He's a walk-on. And listen, walk-ons, they have to pay out-of-state tuition. Sometimes Oklahoma can put together competitive PWOs where basically you get an NIL deal that pays for your college, right? But for a guy like Tawee Walker who has a 2-year-old, has a wife, paying your out-of-state tuition and paying your school, it doesn't work, right? It's got to be hard. And so we all looked at the situation and said, this really sucks because all season, Tawee Walker really helped lead the running back room and was really, for I think first 5 or 6 games, was the guy that was being consistent for you. And then Gavin Sawchuk decided that he wanted to show up and he wanted a piece of the pie. And then as the season waned, you saw Tawee Walker get less and less snaps. And some of that was because of an injury. But Tawee Walker is a workhorse. I mean, when you look at what he can do for you on the field, he can be that power back that just pounds against that offensive or that defensive line, wears them down. I mean, he's not going to go get you a 50, 60-yard run, but he might get you a couple 15, 20-yard runs here and there. And so over the past couple of weeks, the players have started bowl practices. And in bowl practices, you kind of figure out exactly who's opting in, who's opting out, who's entering the transfer portal, who's not. And a lot of the time, I'm going to be honest, guys enter the transfer portal, they ain't practicing with the team. They ain't doing this. And recently, Tawee Walker was spotted on the practice field with Oklahoma. And so that led a lot of OU fans to ask the question, well, what's next? Is Tawee Walker going to hit the transfer portal and leave Oklahoma, or is he planning on coming back? I mean, in order for him to come back, I think Oklahoma has to give him a scholarship. Now, that's not to say Oklahoma doesn't put together a competitive PWO option if for some reason they don't want to give Tawee Walker a scholarship and say, hey, here's a competitive PWO. We're going to make sure you have NIL funds to pay for college and be taken care of while you're here because we want you here. The fans want you here, so we don't want you to leave. And Tawee Walker going into the SEC is not only going to be able to bring experience for the Oklahoma Sooners, but he would bring in competitive depth, not just depth, competitive depth. And he could help teach Xavier Robinson and some of these younger guys that you have coming into the program some of his skills. Because, I mean, you look at Tawee Walker and Xavier Robinson, dare I not say they are two similar types of players. And the way that I think you expect for Xavier Robinson to be used, you look at Tawee Walker and say, well, that's probably the example right there. So I look at the running back room for Oklahoma now. And obviously, going into next season, Gavin Sawchuk's going to be your 1A. But outside of that, your next running back that's not Walker is Javonte Barnes at 140 total yards this past season. So it only makes sense to say, if we bring back Walker, plus what we got in the portal and Sam Franklin, we don't have to rely on Javonte Barnes being 100% healthy by the start of next season, right? Maybe you give him a little bit more time if he needs it. But then you've got guys like Caleb Hicks. You'll have Gavin Freeman, I'm sure, taking a couple snaps. You've also got a guy by the name of Emeka Megwa. Remember when he came in? He's been battling through injuries, but you got to see him in one snap last season, this season. It's not last season yet. And then you've got Xavier Robinson. You've got Tatum coming in. Andy Bass won't be able to play because he's suffering through an injury. But the running back room with Tawee Walker, I think, is an excellent running back room. Without Tawee Walker, I just think it's a great running back room. And for Oklahoma going into the SEC, I think you need all of the pieces. You need all of the depth that you could potentially get, because we looked at the schedule after it was released. Alabama and LSU at the end of the season, you're going to be banged up. You're going to have running backs that are hurt in that game. You don't want that to happen, but you know that's going to happen because you're going to have to go through a gauntlet of an SEC schedule in your first year. And so if you have guys like Tawee Walker, you have guys that you know and are proven that they can go out there and they can be a dude for you on the field. So over the next couple of weeks, I think we're going to find out a lot about if Tawee Walker will end up returning to the University of Oklahoma. I think being at bowl practices is a great start. The question is, can the staff do what they need to do NIL-wise, or by just giving the man a scholarship? I mean, Marcus Major, he's in the portal, and I don't expect him to come back at all. Why don't you give his scholarship to Tawee Walker? It's not like Marcus Major was really producing for you. Tawee Walker was out producing to Marcus Major. So, guys, I need to know what your thoughts are. I need to see what you guys are thinking, because I was thinking about this today, and I thought this was pretty interesting to see where the Oklahoma Sooners are going to go next at the running back position and what they're going to do with Tawee Walker. So if you guys have not already, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't already, join the discussion and jump down in the comments.